But first, House Democrats release controversial and salacious emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate. And now a battle brewing in D.C. tonight ahead of a consequential vote on releasing the Epstein files. Some in the GOP expected to break ranks and support that bill, including Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is now feuding with the president tonight. NewsNation's Libby joining us live from the White House with a closer look at their fallout, as well as what the president is asking the DOJ to do in response to the Epstein issue. Libby.
Natasha, we're seeing lawmakers push for the Justice Department to release those remaining Epstein files, but President Trump taking this different approach, now directing the DOJ to investigate Democrats he claims are connected to Epstein. Now, the Attorney General then instructing prosecutors to take up that case, the focus likely centering on what President Trump is asking, Epstein's relationship with people like former President Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, and others. Now, the move comes days after the House Oversight Committee, they released these thousands of documents in which President Trump was mentioned over and over. Some of those emails date back to during his first term as president. The president responding, saying that's exactly why his name appeared so frequently in these email exchanges.
Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years, but he also saw strike because I was president, so he dictated a couple of memos to himself to be break.
And now we're seeing the fallout in Congress, a very public breakup between Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene and President Trump after Greene joined all House Democrats and 3 Republicans in signing the Jeffrey Epstein discharge petition. Despite pressure from the White House to not support that, we ultimately saw her do so. Now, President Trump posting on X, or on Truth Social rather, yesterday, I'm withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. All I see wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. Then we saw Greene post on X this morning, I never thought that fighting to release the Epstein files defending women who were victims of rape and fighting to expose the web of rich, powerful elites would have caused this, but here we are. This is also wrong. That is Marjorie Taylor Greene quoting there. Now, Trump ultimately responding, saying, quote, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a disgrace to our great Republican Party. Then we saw Greene come back with this, and the Epstein files is why I'm being attacked by President Trump. It really makes you wonder what is in those files and who and what country is putting so much pressure on him. So a lot of back and forth tonight, and we're also learning the Congresswoman is seeing an increase in threats against her life as the feud with the president does continue to play out quite publicly, Natasha.
I appreciate you walking us through that. And Libby, we also know there's also new information tonight about Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. We know she's looking to get her sentence changed. A prison official suggesting she is receiving concierge-style treatment in prison. What are we learning about this tonight?
Yeah, an attorney for Ghislaine Maxwell, Natasha, actually denied that she is seeking a commutation of her sentence and said prison staffers have now been fired after they leaked her emails to congressional Democrats. That's something the prison hasn't confirmed. Those claims come after Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee released one of those emails. That email, Maxwell sent to her attorney with the subject line, quote, commutation application. Now, the committee says the message was provided by a whistleblower. That's raising questions about whether Maxwell was exploring the possibility at all or campaigning for this potential pardon or a reduction in sentence from the president. And these leaked documents also say that Maxwell has been receiving this preferential concierge-style treatment, as you mentioned, in prison, including these customized meals that have been personally delivered to her cell and access to the prison gym outside of normal hours, among other items. This all being revealed in those emails. And this, as the president also said, he hasn't ruled out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. The president saying he hasn't given a pardon much thought. We'll see how that develops with the president making those comments yesterday, Natasha.
All right, Libby Dean live at the White House with all of that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.